Good morning, everybody. How are you?
Good morning, Maria.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Tracy. Dan Meyer, I see that you are logged in, friend. Are there other media outlets we can certainly wait a couple minutes for? Who else are you expecting? I see Spectrum News is signed on.
That is correct. Michael Moroziak's on from WBFO, and there may be one other outlet here I'm looking. If not, we're ready to start when you're ready to start, Maria.
Okay, we'll just give it another minute.
Sure.
Okay, friends, let's go ahead and get started. Good morning to all of you. I am Maria White, Deputy County Executive, and on behalf of County Executive Mark Poloncarz, I am thrilled to welcome you to our event today, in which we are planning to kick off our Climate Action Task Force planning process, community planning process. There's a few people I really want to acknowledge. First is the excellent team at Department of Environment and Planning. Many of you are on the call today, led by Deputy Commissioner Bonnie Lawrence. I really want to thank Tracy and Josh, and I believe Sarah is on the line. Dan Castle is on the line. Thank you to all of you at Department of Environment and Planning for the work you do every day on behalf of Erie County residents. I want to thank our Environmental Management Council Chair, Jason Kalazewski. Jason, I'm not sure if you're on the line. Nevertheless, it is worth recognizing your leadership. Jason, there you are. Good morning. Thank you so much for your leadership at the Environmental Management Council and for everything that you're doing. And Dr. Susan Clark, who is the chairperson of the Community Climate Change Task Force. Dr. Clark, are you on the line? I don't see you this morning, but nevertheless, please know how much we're grateful for your leadership, and those of you that know her, please thank her for her leadership today. We are presently on the 31st of March. Next month begins Earth Month, and it really is worth recognizing that it will also be the 200th anniversary of Erie County in the month of April. How we take care of our environment is very much something to be lifted up as part of our 200-year history, and how we will take care of it in the future matters greatly to the people who live in the present. So we really want to take a minute and acknowledge our 200-year history, the role that conservation and ecotourism all play in our local economy is something worth remembering. I think before I get started to talk a little bit about what we are planning to do today, I think it's worth reflecting just a little bit on the state of our climate issues. And I did a little bit of research that I think is really worth noting, particularly for the press. It is something to consider. And I want to ask everybody on this, as part of this press conference this morning, whether or not you really are prepared to brace yourself for what's coming for us June through November of every year. Mother Nature is always coming for us June through November. Why? Because June through November is the concurrent season in which we are experiencing wildfires in the West and hurricane season in the Southeast. Almost always in the Southeast, although certainly up the East Coast as well. And year after year after year, tens of thousands of people's lives are disrupted or lost, and property is destroyed and dreams are deferred. So let's put this in context. The U.S. Office of Coastal Management in the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration estimates that the number of weather and climate disasters in the past 3 years, 2018, 2019, and 2020, with losses exceeding $1 billion each, was 50. 50 climate disasters in 3 years' time, each with a loss of $1 billion or more. The average number of weather and climate disasters from 2015 to 2020 was 16.2 each. Each year, 16.2 climate disasters. But in 2020 alone, we set a new record in the US in which we experienced 22 unique billion-dollar disasters. So 22 disasters in the year 2020, each of which had $1 billion price tag or greater attached to them. Meanwhile, the total approximate cost of damages from weather and climate disasters in the 40 years between 1980 and 2020 is estimated at $1.85 trillion, friends. So that is so much money. And I'm asking everybody on this call if you really are ready to redirect billions of tax dollars to rebuilding lost infrastructure and supporting climate refugees, as opposed to education or healthcare or fighting the pandemic, because that's what it will take. So what are we going to do about that, friends? That's a hell of a crisis if I've ever heard one, but we do have the opportunity to do something about it, which I am excited to report. And today is part of what we do about it. Today, we are officially kicking off our community process to create an equity-centered climate action plan. Equity-centered climate action plan. This effort is rooted in Erie County's commitment to addressing global climate change, as seen in the Erie County Commits to Paris report and the Climate Action and Sustainability Plan that we developed for internal operations. Those plans have led to implemented actions right here in Erie County, 2 examples of which include the composting project at the Alden Correctional Facility or the energy efficiency improvements at over 40 of our buildings throughout county government, so that those plans have resulted in us implementing actions. And we are now looking forward to doing the same thing as part of our community action plan. So not just internal operations, but to pivot and now look outward and focus on the community. So this effort is also very timely, not only because time is of the essence when we are talking about global climate change, but because the state will be implementing, New York State will be implementing their Aggressive Climate Act. And it is important that Erie County is ready to implement actions that will help the New York State meet its goals. We want to do all of that while we are creating an Erie County that is prepared for climate action, for climate change, prepared from a public health standpoint, from an infrastructure standpoint, and from the impact that it will have on local businesses. Let's take a minute and just understand what New York State is doing and how our actions fit into New York State. So as you know, New York State passed legislation, the New York State Climate Act, which calls for some pretty aggressive action. First, it establishes the creation of a Climate Action Council. Erie County is represented on the Climate Action Council. That's important to make sure that all portions of the state are represented so that we can all carry our weight when it comes to meeting the goals. But then also some pretty ambitious goals. 40% emission reductions in absolute terms from 1990 levels by 2030. So that is just less than 9 years from now, 8.5-ish years from now, and 85% emission reductions by 2050. Several other environmental justice components are also part of New York State legislation, including a requirement to direct at least 35 to 40% of the program's benefits to historically disadvantaged communities. So those that is the context in which New York State is expecting local governments and local regions to take action. So our Erie County Community Climate Change Task Force, which is made up of stakeholders that include representatives from community-based organizations. I see that Rawa Gramaitian from Push Buffalo has joined us as an active member of that task force. Community-based organizations, advocacy groups, municipalities, business organizations. I see Mark Shriver is on the line. Good morning. All active in this sector, as well as youth and National Grid and the NFTA. A wide variety of stakeholders all have been helping us to prepare for this process. So with their guidance, we are rolling out a planning process that is three things, friends. One, centered on equity. That is critically important to Erie County, that we are committed to creating a community climate action plan that is inclusive for all people, neighborhoods, and communities, especially those that are historically disadvantaged, where climate change impacts can be magnified. Two, that seeks community input. Which is important because we want ample opportunity for the public to engage and provide feedback. And three, will help us achieve the goals set by New York State. So we really want to develop a climate action, a community-based climate action plan that does those three things, is centered on equity, seeks community input, and helps us achieve the goals set by New York State. So to talk about how and why we are hoping to have this kind of community engagement, we've got a short video that we produced, and a number of different stakeholders were involved in producing the video. County Executive Paul Cars, of course, is featured in the video, and I'll turn it over now to Monica Boutine to air the video for us briefly at this time.
Hello, Erie County. I'm Pastor Kaiser M. Pointer. I'm the pastor of Liberty Missionary Baptist Church. I'm also the chair of the Erie County Poverty Advisory Commission. I want to speak to you a few minutes about the county's climate action plan. There is nothing more important for the county to be doing right now, with the exception of mitigating the COVID-19 pandemic, than our response to climate. We have to change the way we live on this planet. We're not the only ones here. We have to act responsibly, and we have to reduce our impact on climate. Let me invite you to join me in shouldering together with the 920,000 citizens in Erie County, and let's get behind Erie County's climate action plan.
Hi, this is Nadia Al-Halawani. I'm a co-organizer for the Western New York Youth Climate Council and a youth representative for the Erie County Community Climate Change Task Force. And this is my message for the youth. Climate change is a huge threat to our communities, and we need to act now in order to protect our environment, jobs, and homes. As we continue to fight for climate justice, it is important that youth voices are not only heard, but valued. The Climate Change Task Force is developing a community climate action plan and needs your views on how climate change is not only affecting your communities, but what climate initiatives you would like to see implemented. So I'm asking my youth all across Erie County to please share your perspectives and stand with us as we continue to fight for greener and more sustainable policies.
I'm Sally Cunningham, horticulturist and garden teacher, speaker for many years, and I want gardeners to know that climate change for us means worse weather events more frequently than ever before, from floods and drought periods and ice storms and windstorms and all of those problems, but it also builds upon the already existing mess that humanity has done to natural systems. So we need to do all we can to somewhat repair and somewhat slow the changing problems. One of the things we can do is plant plants that have a value, that have ecosystem services. Instead of just plants that are pretty, plant native plants that serve Mother Nature. We have to be Mother Nature's best hope. Now, one of the ways we can do that is Take half of our yards and plant them thickly with trees and shrubs, oak trees that serve more insects and birds than any other tree. And we can be part of nature's best hope. We can get involved with programs like this and teach others that we need to help Mother Nature.
Hi, I'm Meteorologist Don Paul, and what global climate change has done most to me in my life is force me to remain current on the science. I'm a meteorologist. I have been one of the most widely seen weather communicators in Erie County and the rest of Western New York. And when I write in the Buffalo News or occasionally still show up after 30 years on Channel 4, I've got to make every effort to make sure the information I write and speak about concerning climate is accurate. So what's it done for me? It's kept me booking. And I hope you'll all take the time to learn more through the internet, through your classroom teachers, and participate in the Erie County Community Climate Action Plan.
Hi, I'm Erie County Health Commissioner Gail Burstein. Climate change will bring more than just weather changes. It also can negatively affect our health. Our area is projected to see days over 100 degrees, temperatures that have never been recorded in our region's history. Extreme heat days can cause serious health issues for vulnerable people like children, older adults, and historically disadvantaged communities. Extreme heat can damage air quality with harmful effects for people with cardiovascular or respiratory diseases. And a warming climate can bring an invasive plant and animal species that can harm our health and water systems. Your participation in Erie County's Climate Action Plan is vital. So please get involved. Erie County is working diligently on this plan, and our health department is proud to be a part of it.
Climate change is already impacting Erie County, and you can help us develop an equity-centered community climate action plan. As you may know, for a number of years now, we've been working in Erie County to address climate change, and now we need your help. We are putting together a community-based climate action plan, and we need assistance from the community to do so. It could be as simple as signing up for an email to learn about what's going on in our community, or becoming a community climate action ambassador. We ask everyone to participate because we'll be better if everyone does participate. Learn more about how you can be a partner in our efforts to address climate change by going to erie.gov/climate action. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Monica, and for the time and energy into producing that short film. Really just to underscore the points in the film. Why do we want community involvement? Because we want to know how climate change will impact you, your home, your family, your neighborhood, and we want the voice of everyday members of our community to be reflected in our climate action plan. How can you participate in this? Easily, you can check out our website at erie.gov/climate action, just as the county executive said, and there you can find different ways to get involved. And Department of Environment and Planning has even broken it down. If you have only 1 minute to take action, here's what you can do in your 1 minute versus if you have 30 minutes to take action. So we are looking for your engagement at whatever time and level of attention you are able to provide. I think with that, friends, I just want to close the way I started. Are you ready? June is around the corner. Are you braced for the 22 various billion-dollar disasters that are likely coming for us in 2021 while we try to fight a pandemic? If that does not sound like a recipe for success for you, then let's pivot. Let's take our attention to fighting the global climate change that we know is coming and see instead how we can change that dynamic before it is too late. We only have planet A, friends. We don't have planet B. We only have this planet. So let's do our part to save it. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm happy to open it up to questions from the media. And of course, if I can't answer those questions, I'll put you in touch with the folks in Department of Environment and Planning who likely can. Are there any questions at this time? I invite the media just to simply unmute yourselves and ask whatever you need, or certainly you're welcome to type your question in the chat. Okay. If anybody has any questions afterwards, you can certainly follow up with our Deputy Press Secretary, Dan Meyer, who is on the line. And I think with that, Bonnie, Tracy, anything else I need to cover?
No, I think you covered it all, Maria. Thank you so much.
All right, extra thanks again to all of the friends from our Environmental Management Council who are on the line. I see Ann Brigance has joined us. So great to see you, Ann. Thanks so much to everyone from the Community Climate Action Task Force. I so value, Erie County values your participation, and we will see what we can do together. Thanks so much, friends.
Oh, we have one question just now from
Oh,
Dazzle, who is from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, who funds part of this work.
Sure.
Good morning. Thank you so
Good
much.
morning.
I see that Rawa is here, and I just wanted to take a moment and sort of made me curious if Push Buffalo will be playing a role with the community climate action planning process.
Dazzle, that is such a great question. We have been playing a role for the last almost 2 years that this has been going on. And as you know, Erie County isn't just partnering with Push Buffalo, but other local organizations that are also part of the passage of the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act that passed in June of 2019, that was due to 4+ years of community organizing with a pretty large coalition now. It started with 20 organizations across the state. We Push Buffalo, of course, are founding members of the New York Renews Coalition. And now it has grown to over 250 members. And so I just want to say that Buffalo also, during those 4 years of organizing, probably took the most amount of citizens to Albany for all of the direct actions. And, you know, we were very loud. I think the elected officials, the legislators heard us and made that passage, but we always consistently took more than 2 buses, and that includes organizations like the Partnership for Public Good, which is also part of this committee that has been helping us here. Organizations like MAP and Ojima Company and Open Buffalo and the Sierra Club and the Western New York Environmental Alliance. And Nadia is part of the Youth Climate Council that is right here, that has also passed some amazing stuff at the city level by, you know, declaring that climate is an emergency. So it's really all of this, it's been just a community-wide effort. And I really just want to say that Buffalo has consistently showed up and shown out. And I also just really want to appreciate Bonnie Lawrence and everybody else on the Erie County team that, you know, initially they were all in for the Paris Accord climate goals. And most recently, we changed them to actually meet the requirements and the goals of the Climate and Leadership Community Protection Act, which goes much further.
Thanks so much, Rawa. And your point is so well taken. None of this happens by accident, for heaven's sakes. It happens because organized people organized their voices and called for this change. So so thank you for that. Thank you, Dazzle, for your questions. Anybody else with any questions at this time? Okay, friends, then we will officially call ourselves adjourned. We look forward to your participation in the year ahead, and thanks again. Bye.